Dolphins get drunk. But why? Well, you see, the dolphin is by far and away the smartest animal in the ocean. In fact, they're actually the second smartest thing on the planet, just behind you and me. This means they are smart enough to understand that the ideal way to spend your night is more plastered than Chad and Max on your average Cold Ones episode. Shut up! There is just one problem. Last I checked, there's no bottle O in Bikini Bottom. So, how does a dolphin get fired for all? Simple. They abuse pufferfish. You see, due to the lack of underwater alcohol, dolphins need to find other ways to get their fix, which is where SpongeBob's driving instructor comes in. You see, pufferfish contain this really cool and totally not dangerous substance called tetrodotoxin. What is tetrodotoxin? You know, it's only one of the most potent natural neurotoxins on the fucking planet. This shit will freeze your heart and lungs in under an hour with a tiny dose, and it's the reason why cooking a pufferfish requires a dexterity check so you don't, hit the poison gland and get yourself deleted. Now, puffers carry this as a defense mechanism as poison accumulates in their organs and skin. Why is that important? Well, you see, I kinda lied. Dolphins don't get drunk. They get high on neurotoxin.
¿Quieres?
Pods of dolphins will bully pufferfish until they inflate, then partake in a literal puff-puff pass. By lightly squeezing the puffer in their mouth, they receive a small dose of neurotoxin, which has a narcotic effect, allowing Flipper here to trip balls before passing the unhappy basketball onto the next submarine stoner. Flipper and friends saw the deadliest neurotoxin on the planet and said, "Fuck it, let me try some of that." This isn't a spider. It's a snake. Introducing the Iranian spider-tailed horned viper, as the name suggests, native to Iran, and you are all probably wondering why the fuck this snake has decided to attach a cosplay of the average Australian resident to his tail. The answer is food. You see, every known snake species is a predator. Some eat Bambi, others eat Remy, and the spider tail, not unlike myself, absolutely fucking loves KFC. However, birds famously tend to fly, and last I checked, note ropes don't have wings. So, how does this viper get his zinger box? The answer is again, food. You see, birds eat insects, and the spider tail knows this. So rather than trying to chase his prey down, this lazy fucker has evolved the evolutionary equivalent of DoorDash. You see, when a viper feels like a meal, it'll start the hunt by finding a nice rocky outcrop to curl up on like a couch. And due to the camouflage on his scales, this snake becomes practically invisible. Once he's nice and cozy, he begins to slowly wiggle his tail back and forth in front of his face, perfectly mimicking the motion of an insect. Think of this as him placing his Uber Eats order. Meanwhile, up in the air, our undercooked chicken tender is flying around when, holy shit, a free meal! What a delectable bug, just sitting there on that rock. And so, Tweety Birdie swoops down to grab himself an insect Happy Meal. And just as he's about to reach his meal, this pigeon saved an entire army battalion.
Heroes never die.
Introducing our protagonist, Cher Ami, a carrier pigeon who was in the employ of the US Army Signal Corps during World War I. You see, back in the oldie times, radio technology was, kinda dog shit. So carrier pigeons were still the meta for DMing the homies memes over distance. Which is how, in 1918, our feathered little shock trooper here ended up in France, with 500 US soldiers stuck 3 kilometers behind enemy lines, completely cut off from supply and reinforcement in a 7-day shootout. You see, Cher Ami's battalion, juiced up on freedom and red crayons, had overextended and become trapped, surrounded on all sides by German soldiers. And to make matters worse, being stuck behind enemy lines meant they were now on the receiving end of US defense spending, being absolutely hammered with friendly artillery. Now, stuck as far away as they would have had more luck using their radio as fucking nunchucks than a comms device. So they began sending out carrier pigeons in an attempt to tell command to stop fucking shelling them and help on the point. However, the Germans were having none of that shit and shot every single carrier pigeon the battalion sent out of the air like they were running an AIM Labs warm-up. Until only one remained, Cher Ami. Desperate and rapidly running out of soldiers, the battalion wrote a message and attached it to Cher Ami, sending him into the air and watching him sail above the trees. And just when they thought he was clear, some f***ing sweat on the German side nailed him. The battalion watched in horror as their last hope spiraled out of the sky. The bullet tore straight through Cher Ami's center of mass, destroying one eye, punching a hole through his chest, and blowing off one of his legs. And this giga chad of an animal tanked it.
Do you have any ibuprofen? I got a headache.
The Marines watched in awe as this mangled pigeon picked itself out of the mud and managed to fly clear of German fire. Cher Ami made it the whole way back to base, delivering the message and saving a total of 194 soldiers. Not only did he get the job done, but he f***ing lived. He was granted one of the highest military honours the French army could provide and sent into retirement with his trainer. And when he eventually did pass several years later, he was preserved and placed in the Smithsonian, where you can go see him today. There he is. Absolute f***ing legend. This spider hunts with jump scares. But how? Introducing the trapdoor spider, a family of arachnid containing hundreds of species found in every continent on the globe. Meaning, yes, for once, this bad boy could be in your backyard and you'd never know.
Hello?
Now, trapdoor spiders are particularly interesting compared to other spiders due to their hunting method. You see, normal spiders tend to spend several hours spinning up some elaborate art piece for a fly to clothesline itself on. And tarantulas just jump shit. But trapdoor spiders, yeah, they hunt with a door. Very early on in life, trapdoor spiders dig themselves a hole. This silk-lined burrow will then serve as its home for basically its entire 20-year lifespan. Hell, they basically never leave the thing, like some neckbeard living in his mum's basement. But they've still got to eat, and since DoorDash does not deliver to spiders, this burrow doubles as their method for catching food. You see, they use their silk to craft a trapdoor over the burrow entrance. Then, using their fantastic arts and craft skills, they just bolt a bunch of random shit to their front door so it blends in perfectly with the floor. After finishing their construction project, they will spin up a bunch of basically invisible strands of web on the floor in the surrounding area that act as tripwires, feeding information back to their neckbeard nest whenever something steps on it. And when some unfortunate insect steps a little too close... Money! 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 This is Australia's most common snake, and that's quite a problem, because it's also one of the world's deadliest. Introducing the eastern brown snake, native to quite literally every state in the land down under. And unluckily for us, this asshole has earned himself a silver medal in the Note Rope Olympics venom category, coming in second place for the most venomous snake in the world. It is worth noting that third and first place are unsurprisingly also both held by Australian snakes. Because God hates us. However, unlike first and third, the toxic middle child here is a far larger problem, because putting it lightly, he's a cunt. The eastern brown is one of the most territorial species of snake in the world, which is a scientific way of saying they operate on the US home defense philosophy. If you dare put a pinky toe onto this guy's property, he will bite your ass, injecting you with a hemotoxin that can send you to heaven via blood clot in under 30 minutes if left untreated. But hey, stay off his property and he'll leave you alone, right? Yeah, one problem. His property is your property.
Get the fuck out of my room and play Minecraft!
That's right, the eastern brown doesn't live out in the middle of nowhere like his slightly more deadly cousin. This fucker is so at home in the suburbs, he drives a f***ing Prius. You can find this burnt piece of spaghetti literally anywhere. Go to put your shoes on, he's turned them into a 2-bedroom home. Hop in the car to go to work, Yeah, unfortunately, that's his car now. Get to work on the job site? What do you know? He works here too. Try to take a shower after a long day at work? Off, he's moisturising. You can't even take a shit in the comfort of your own home without running the risk of the dunny being occupied. In fact, these bastards are so omnipresent that out of the 200 species of snake in the country, this ginormous asshole makes up 60% of snake bites. What a cunt.